Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Very good evening, student friends. Today we are going to study about drainage basin characteristics as part of our CE 401 Water Resources Engineering class. Up to last class, we have seen a very important input for this hydrological cycle, that is precipitation, and then we have seen a lot of abstracts. Some hydrologists call it as losses, but we can call that as abstracts. That means it is being abstracted by some other processes which is not in direct use for human being, right? So we have seen several abstracts. Now once all these abstracts are fulfilled, the precipitation is more, then runoff has to start. But runoff is the water flowing on the earth. That means earth is also an important characteristics. There is no basin which are same in this world. It is like our thumb impressions, right? No drainage basin looks similar to that of any other drainage basin available, at least to the human knowledge. So that means the drainage basin characteristics is a site specific characteristics which governs our runoff flow, so that we can get to know that why same rainfall on this basin we have different discharge and another basin we have different discharge. So then it becomes very important to study the basin characteristics. And now we will see one by one what is drainage basin characteristics. Right? What is this drainage basin? Earth is a flat region to us or a circular, and what is this particular drainage basin? It says that any portion of the earth surface within the physical boundary, right, defined by its topographic slopes, that diverts all runoff to the same drainage outlet. That means when rain falls on a mountain, in one slope it moves in one direction, in another slope it moves in another direction. The distance between these 2 points is only few meters, but still they may or may not meet together at the river. So the ridge of all mountains forms a hydrologic boundary. It may be a several sub rivers may join together to form a larger river, but all are contributing to this common river basin. Then that area is called as drainage basin of that river. Okay. The physical boundary of the drainage basin is also defined by the direction in which this surface runoff moves. You can see here, these are all contour map of a river basin and also adjoining area. You can see that the contour line value at this point and at this point, it adjacent to the highest peak level is same, but the water which falls on this particular location moves towards this river basin, and point which falls on this moves towards in this direction. So that is the beauty of hydrologic boundary. Smaller and smaller subbasins, when they drain it into a common river, then that is called as the major river basin, and these are all called as tributaries, and these are all subbasins of this larger river basin. I think this is much clear. But then recently we are also started calling it as a watershed. Watershed has a slightly different meaning than the drainage basin. Altogether, watershed is also a drainage basin, and altogether a watershed is also a catchment area. But watershed is the area of the land draining into a single stream of a water course at a given location. Suppose if the water course joins and there are so many tributaries, then we call it as a drainage basin or subdued. So a catchment area is separated from its neighboring areas by a ridge, right? So now this is how our India is divided into river basins. I think in the first class I told that, first or second class, each and every part of a country like India is part of a river basin, right? So you can see that there are large river basins from south to north and east to west. Among these, the largest river basin is Ganga River Basin, right? So that you have studied. Then we have Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, right? These are all large river basins, right? Sindh basin. But when you go down and down, the river basins are smaller and smaller. For example, this was the classification by Central Water Commission, Government of India. The river basins, which is flowing towards west and confluences with Arabian Sea, they are just classified only into two basins. They are called as river basin from Tapi to Tadri, and that is one large sub-basin, and Tadri to Kanyakumari, another large sub-basin. This Tadri to Kanyakumari covers from Kanyakumari to part of Karnataka, and Tapi to Tadri covers from Gujarat to Karnataka. These river basins, there are confluent, it is a mixture of smaller river basins whose length varies from 14 kilometer to a maximum of 140 to 160 kilometers. The river basins are, the rivers are smaller in length, but the rainfall intensity in this region is very high. I think we might have seen in our precipitation class, the average annual rainfall in this western side of the Western Ghat is around 2000 to 3000 mm, whereas in all other parts it is 20 mm, 20 centimeter, right? 600, 700, like that, except Cherrapunji and Meghalaya. So these small river basins are subjected to heavier floods, right? So you can see these river basins. Can you find any one small area which is not part of a river basin? And similarly, this Vaipar is also combination of 4-5 smaller sub-basins. This is for administrative boundaries. CWC has clubbed all these things. Otherwise, each large sub-basin also constitutes sometimes smaller sub-basins. But Krishna is a single basin. Godavari is a single basin. Tapi is a single basin. Narmada is a single. They are all very large rivers and carries huge quantity of water, right? So what are all the characteristics that governs, or that is the basic characteristics of a river basin? There are two broad classifications. One is drainage related, the another one is channel characteristics, right? So the drainage basin area, the area, what is the shape of the basin, what is the slope, what is the centroid, and all other form factors we will see one by one. Channel characteristics, first one is what is the length of the channel. Channel means river. What is the length of the river? What is the drainage density, right? Like population density, drainage density. What is the drainage density? Then profile, slope, length, all these governs our runoff, right? We will see how it governs one by one. First one is basin order or channel order. Order means a drainage basin may be characterized in terms of hierarchy of stream order. This is one way of finding what is the drainage area the watershed contributes for this river basin. If there is no any other tributary or no other small streams, here the small stream means a permanent water course is available even when there is no flow in the river. If there is a stream where there is no tributaries joining, and the area which is contributing also doesn't contribute to other area, then the order of such stream is called as first order, right? Like you can see, all starting point of the rivers, it is order of 1. That means this is the order from 1, and no other tributaries joins. Suppose if the rule used here is two streams of equal order joins, confluence, the emerging stream will have a higher order of the confluencing, right? That is first point. Second point, when two unequal streams order joins, the emerging will be a higher order of these two, right? So the second order, for example, order 1 and 1, when they confluence, the emerging stream will have an order of 2. Like this here, here also 1, 1, 2. Now here 2 and 2 are merging, the emerging is third order stream. And when there is another subbasin with an order of 2, and when confluence with this third order, 3 and 2, the emerging is only a third order, right? Like that it goes on. So the highest number of this stream order becomes the basin order, right? Highest order of this channel becomes the basin order. So that is called second order, formed by junction of first two order channels. It receives flow from two first order channels that forms it, right? As well as not only from this basin and its own basin, right? And the entire catchment area of this second order is including with order 1. But then the area where it freely joins with this is called as free catchment, and the catchment which is caught by 1 and then joins with 2, that catchment area is called as intercepted catchment area, right? Let me see. Okay, so that is called second order. Third order, it is same as formed by junction of two second order channels. So it receives flow from two second order channels, but also direct overland flow. So the hierarchy continues. When two third order channels joins together, after the junction it is called as fourth order channel, right? Then the second important point is the basin area. See here, the basin area is not the area with all the slopes. It is the vertically projected area of the drainage basin in an horizontal plane. It's also called as drainage area. So the watershed area is comprised of two subcomponents. One is stream areas and interbasin areas, right? Stream areas are its own catchment, and intercepted basins are, they are the catchment area of the lower stream orders, right? And this was divided, it was suggested by Horton 1945 as well as Schum in 1954. Right? These are all some of the basin shapes. Now what we have seen is the basin area. As I said, no two basins are similar. So there are several shapes. We cannot put any one river basin into a single basin shape. But in general, right, we can, basin shapes varies from a circular like E. This is a circular basin, and this is elongated or leaf, and this is multiple, and this is fan blade shape, correct, and this is inverted. All these shapes governs the runoff discharge. So the watershed that is partially long and narrow and partially compact, the runoff hydrograph, we will see what is this runoff hydrograph, is expected to be a complex, right? For the first three watershed, first and second is very simple. The lower graph is the time versus discharge. Third one, you see, it's a complex discharge, relationship between time and discharge. If the watershed is long and narrow like a leaf, then runoff will happen for longer time, right? but the peak is reduced because the farthest point takes longer time to reach here. If it is a compact, right, then my peak discharge happens very fast and it's a peaked. So the shape of the river basin governs the shape of hydrograph, right? When we say basin shape, two things comes. One is the basin shape. Second one is the channel shape or the valley shape. There are two types of valleys. One is U-shaped and another one is V-shaped. U-shaped valley, it takes longer time for the water particles to move from one point, from U to X to this lower. Whereas in V-shape, the steep slopes and it moves at faster speed than the U-shaped. So the basin shape helps us to derive certain watershed parameters, which is useful in runoff estimation. This may not be very much used nowadays in hydrological model, but when you are using remote sensing, then these watershed parameters are very useful. For example, form factor, shape factor, elongation ratio, circulatory ratio, compact. All these things are estimated from the watershed area, watershed length, or watershed perimeter, right? And then these are all the four important parameters, right? For example, form factor is the ratio of watershed area by watershed length. But what is this watershed length, right? I will first. So this is called basin length. That means the straight line point from the farthest point to the outlet of the basin is called as basin length, right? And that is what watershed length is also, right? Form factor, sometimes it will be always less than 1. Then shape factor is nothing but inverse of the form factor. That means watershed length square by area. Elongation ratio is how far the area is elongated with respect to a circle, right? For example, elongation ratio is defined as diameter or circle of watershed area by its watershed length, right? The circulatory ratio is like a similar or inverse of elongation ratio, which gives watershed area divided by watershed perimeters. Area of circle of watershed perimeters. So compactness is watershed perimeter by perimeter of the circle. So there are several other. These are all very old form fact basin parameters. Nowadays with remote sensing and GIS, you will get different and altogether new basin area parameters, right? So I have done a small example. For example, a drainage basin is found to have the following data. Area of the basin is 2500 kilometers square. Length of the main stream is 110 kilometers. Perimeter of the basin is 367 kilometers. Determine form factor, circulatory ratio, elongation ratio, and the compact coefficient. So we have to substitute all these things, right? Okay, I think I have given the solution also. Substitute the appropriate values, you will get it's a straightforward, right? Now the another important basin characteristics is the basin slope, and we all know as a civil engineer what is a slope. It's the level difference between 2 points and divided it by the distance between these 2 points, right? Similar method is used here also. The basin slope is defined as S is equal to H by L, where H is the level difference between two different points in the basin and L is the length between the 2 points, right? So the length depends upon how much, the slope depends upon how much length you are considering. It's not necessary that a drainage basin will have same slope everywhere. Normally we used to take the average basin slope, right? So if you are studying the basin characteristics using remote sensing and GIS, as well as finite difference and finite element methods. This method suggested by Harton in 1932 is very useful still to estimate the basin slope. Let us consider that this is the basin whose elevation at I is known and the elevation of each point is known. The slope of the point is vertical slope plus horizontal slope, or which is equal to nothing but my level difference by length of the base. Okay. Then there are another important basin characteristics which is called as centroid of the basin. Right? In civil engineering, centroid is very important. Centroid, everybody knows that it is the point at which all the weights will pass through with respect to the gravity. So that means you can balance the entire area at that one point. So the location of the point within the drainage basin that represents the weighted center of the basin is called as centroid of the basin, because for equal or prismatic channels or a prismatic square or almost all these things, you can easily find out centroid of the basin. But the area of this river, any river basin, is an undefined shape, right? Maybe we are compacting it to circular or elongated, but when you start measuring the actual shape, it will not be a straight line. There will be, especially when you use remote sensing and GIS. That is why we are using this weighted centroid method to estimate this centroid of the basin. That means you divide this entire river basin into smaller sections or smaller grids. Take the centroid of each smaller section and then take the moment with the center. That will give you in x direction as well as in y direction. This is the basics of our civil engineering, which you might have studied in engineering mechanics, right? So same thing I have explained. If you are going to use a large area, or if you are going to study the large area using remote sensing and GIS, how to find out the centroid of the basin. All these characteristics are very useful when we are studying the flood studies. I'm just giving an example. It is used in several other studies also, like runoff estimation. But these are all very useful in flood estimation. Basin characteristics is one of the important parameters in flood estimation, especially when we are using this flood quantile estimation, right? Which is function of basin characteristics, precipitation with a given return period, and all other statistical parameters of the already observed discharges, right? Here in the length, there are two lengths. The first one is called basin length, or the straight line point between the most farthest point to the outlet, that is basin length. Then the second distance is called as length of the river. The length of the river will be definitely either more than the length of the basin or equal. It cannot be smaller than the length of the basin, because it may not take a straight line. It will take its own contour, minimum contour to reach the outlet. So LB is called as basin length and the dotted lines is called as river length. These are all two important characteristics. Right? Then comes very important characteristics of a drainage basin, which is called as drainage density. This is the first time you may be hearing. It's similar to population density. What is population density? It is some quantity with respect to area, right? Number of people per area gives you the population density. Similarly here, drainage density defined as the total length of the stream of all orders within the basin area, or you can say that unit area, right, is called as drainage density. Because this is very important, I have given few points about this. Drainage density is a measure of the closeness of the spacing of the stream Because if drainage density is larger and larger, then the runoff will quickly move from one place to another place. Because as the rain falls on the earth, it takes longer time for the water molecules to reach from the flat surface to the channel. Once it reaches the channel, the slope is well defined and it will move faster. That is why people say that when the drainage density is larger and larger, the runoff will be faster and faster, right? That's why low drainage density reflects poor drainage conditions. But on the other hand, if the drainage is poor, the water stagnates on the ground for longer time, or it takes longer length to follow. That means your infiltration opportunity time is increased. But it is not good, especially in case of flood estimation. Low drainage densities are observed where soils are resistant to erosion or very permeable, or when the slopes are small. Higher drainage density are expected when soils are easily eroded or relatively impermeable. This is a book definition. But we can say that especially in area where there is a good agricultural operations, command areas, the drainage density will be lesser. There are channels, but it is used to send water from higher level to the agricultural field. But the drainage channel from field to another field is small. Whereas let us consider a city, each and every street is constructed with a drainage channel. So your drainage density is higher and higher. That's why in cities the drainage makes it very faster. So this is about drainage density. For example, here I've given two figures. One is figure A and B. This is the drainage which has large number of streams. If I add the length of each and every river in this and divide it by the total area, the drainage density value of basin A will be more than the drainage density of basin given in figure B. See, the area is same, only the length of the stream. You can see that I have given three. One is coarse drainage density. That means your length of the stream is very small. Medium is okay, fine. Numerically, there is no much definition for this. It is only used when you use a remote sensing. If I use a coarse resolution, then I will have drainage densities like this. If I use very fine resolution, like now we are getting 30 meter by 30 meter or even 3 meter by 3 meter, then my resolutions are finer and finer. So I will be able to identify even a small streams. So finer the drainage density, better will be our runoff estimation, right? And then some people say that the classification of watershed depending on the area, right? A watershed is called as small. These are all certain definition. It varies from researcher to researcher or book, but in an average, right? In India, if the drainage river basin is less than 250 kilometers square, it's called as small river basin. It is between 250 to 2500 kilometers square. It is called as medium river basin. If the area of a single river basin is more than 2500 kilometers square, then we call that as large river basin. I told that the west flowing rivers from Tapi to Tadri, Tadri to Kanyakumari, they are all made up of smaller and smaller river basins whose area varies maybe less than 250 kilometers square to around 300. Bunch of smaller and smaller rivers join together and they make it as a larger river basin for better maintenance, because when compared to the discharge with some of the east flowing rivers, the discharge and the west flowing rivers are much higher. Okay, so according to CWC, we are having 17 major river basins, or we can say large river basins in India. And you can take this as your class assignment, major river basins in India. I will also write these questions. For example, Ganga is a major river basin. Godavari is a major river basin. Krishna, Mahanadi, Kaveri. But west flowing rivers from Tapi to Tadri is a single large river basin for better maintenance, but it is constituted of 30 to 45 smaller river basins. A river basin is a drainage area where it starts and confluences with the river, confluences with the ocean. We call that as a river basin, whatever the length and whatever the area it is. Okay, and then based on the land use, we have urban watersheds, agricultural watersheds, mountainous watersheds, forest watershed, desert, coastal area, marsh, right, or combination. These are all different names. Not only the different names, different land use, because each and every watershed land use has different runoff coefficient. Runoff coefficient is nothing but the resistance to the rainfall so that it will not flow over the land. For example, if it is an urban catchment, same rainfall will give more runoff than a forest or agricultural lands because of infiltration. So the land use also governs our hydrological processes runoff, right? So these are all some of the important basin characteristics which we have studied. So thank you. So this is like a small point which I have introduced so that instead of straight away jumping from rainfall abstract and then runoff, better you know why runoff is different for a given rainfall in different locations. There are two variations. One is in different location. The second one is in the same river basin. When the rainfall happens at January month, runoff will be different. If the same quantity of rainfall happens in July or August month, the runoff will be different because of basin characteristics like land use, right? Land cover, slope, everything. So keep in mind this basin characteristics and please read some of the basin characteristics in standard books. Okay. So thank you. Now next class we will continue with runoff.